The studio buzzed with the soft hum of cameras warming up, crew members whispering into headsets, and the familiar shuffle of papers as producers reviewed last-minute notes. Morning light poured across the set of Lorraine's show, bouncing off the polished furniture and giving everything that warm, cozy glow viewers loved waking up to. Lorraine Kelly herself sat in her chair, smoothing the front of her pastel blazer, taking a quiet breath before the next segment. She had done thousands of interviews in her career, but some guests always carried a certain weight, a certain unpredictability, a certain volatility. Today, that unpredictability had a name: Ricky Gervais. She'd interviewed him before. She'd interviewed him more times than she could count. And every time, he brought the same chaotic charm, the same fearless sharpness that made him both beloved and controversial. Lorraine respected him immensely, but she also knew that talking to Ricky was like juggling lit matches. Entertaining, yes, but always one flick away from burning the script. As the countdown reached the final seconds before the cameras went live, Lorraine kept her smile bright and practiced. She was a master of morning television: kindness, warmth, and elegance wrapped in one soothing package. The audience adored her, the network trusted her, and guests usually melted into her controlled calm. Usually, the stage manager pointed toward her. "We're live in 3, 2. The opening music faded and Lorraine delivered her smooth introduction, welcoming viewers back with her trademark positivity. "Now, joining us is someone who needs no introduction, though he'd probably mock the idea of one anyway," she teased gently. "The one and only Ricky Gervais." The audience clapped, some excited, some bracing themselves as Ricky emerged from the side of the set. He didn't walk so much as amble, hands in pockets, eyes squinting slightly in the bright lights, his grin mischievous even before he said a word. He waved lazily at the audience, sat down beside Lorraine, and immediately slouched into the chair as if it were his living room. "Morning," he said, in that dry voice that always made people unsure whether he was being sincere. "Morning to you," Lorraine replied cheerfully. "Lovely to have you." Ricky snorted. "Well, I'm shocked you invited me back, honestly." Lorraine laughed politely. "Why's that?" "Oh, because I tend to ruin these sorts of shows," he said matter-of-factly, shrugging. "I say the wrong thing, upset the wrong people, you know, my usual routine." The audience chuckled nervously. Lorraine's smile tightened but held. "Well, we're gluttons for punishment then," she said. "That's the spirit," Ricky replied, leaning forward like he was physically preparing to poke a sleeping tiger. Lorraine straightened her cards, transitioning smoothly. "Let's talk about your new comedy special." "Oh, the one everyone's offended by even though they haven't watched it yet," Ricky interjected with mock enthusiasm. She blinked. "Well, some people have reacted strongly." "People react strongly to weather forecasts," Ricky cut in. "People wake up offended. It's the national sport." The audience laughed again, louder this time, but half of them glanced at Lorraine to see how she'd take it. Lorraine maintained her composure. "Comedy is meant to spark conversation though, isn't it? Challenge people." "Yes," he said, then pointed lightly toward her cue cards. "But I bet you've got something on those little cards about how controversial it is, right? That's what the producers love." Lorraine's smile faltered. "Well, we try to cover all sides." "Do you?" he asked, raising a brow. "Because half the online comments about your show say you're some national treasure, and the other half say you're a robot programmed by ITV executives." A loud gasp rippled through the audience. Lorraine sat straighter, her eyebrows rising. "That's a bit rude, Ricky." "Oh come on," he said, waving dismissively. "I like robots, and you're very well programmed." Smile, laugh, smooth transition to commercial. "It's impressive." Lorraine forced a breathy laugh, but there was a new tension behind her eyes. "If we could stay on the topic of your special." "Why, this is way more fun," Ricky said with a grin, turning slightly toward the audience to tease them. "She hates this, look at her." "I don't hate anything," Lorraine said, but her tone betrayed her. Ricky kept going. "This show is lovely, really. Very safe." "Safe," she repeated. "Yes," Ricky said brightly. "Like breakfast television wrapped in bubble wrap. Nothing sharp, nothing risky, nothing that might wake people up too quickly." The most dangerous thing on this set is a hot teacup. Some audience members burst out laughing, but others exchanged uncomfortable looks. Lorraine pressed her lips into a thin line. "People appreciate comfort in the morning, Ricky." "Oh, I know," he said. "But it's also nice to say something real once in a while." "So you're suggesting this show isn't real?" she asked. I'm suggesting it's beige, he said simply. The word hit like a slap disguised as a compliment. The audience reacted instantly, some laughed, some groaned, and one woman literally covered her mouth. Lorraine's heart thumped harder. She had endured criticism, jokes, even jabs at her style over the years. But calling her show beige on live television, that was another level. Beige meant bland. Beige meant forgettable. Beige meant safe in a way that suggested cowardice. The moment the show cut to commercial, the studio seemed to exhale all at once, producers rushing forward, assistants muttering into earpieces, and Lorraine pulling off her mic pack with a tremor in her hands. She kept her expression controlled, but the tension circling her like an invisible storm made it clear she wasn't just irritated, she was offended on a personal level. On the other side of the set, Ricky Gervais leaned back casually, as if he had merely commented on the weather rather than called the entire show beige on national television. A producer approached him tentatively. "Ricky, when we're back live, maybe tone it down a little." He scoffed. "Tone it down. This isn't the Queen's funeral. It's breakfast TV." The producer paled. Please don't insult Lorraine. Or the network." "No promises," Ricky replied, smiling smugly. Lorraine overheard and stiffened. She inhaled sharply, lifted her chin, and marched back to her seat. Her assistant leaned in with concern. "Are you okay?" "I'm fine," she said tightly. "But he will not make a fool of me on my own show." When the countdown resumed, 5, 4, 3, the studio fell silent. Lorraine smoothed her blazer once more, forced a smile, and prepared herself. The camera light blinked red. They were live again. "Welcome back," she said warmly, though the slight sharpness around her eyes betrayed the icy current running beneath her tone. "We're still here with Ricky Gervais, who has been sharing very colorful opinions." "Truthful opinions," Ricky corrected cheerfully. Lorraine ignored the jab. "Before the break, you had quite a lot to say about our show." "Oh yes," he said innocently. "Lovely place. Very beige. Comforting. Like a waiting room for people who still think email is new." The audience laughed nervously again. Lorraine did not. "Ricky," she began slowly, "do you ever consider how your words affect other people? Or do you just enjoy the shock factor? Why can't it be both?" He said with a shrug. Lorraine pressed forward. "I've interviewed you many times. I've always treated you with respect. And I'd like to think you'd give the same courtesy." "Respect," he repeated, squinting at her. "Come on, Lorraine, you know I like you. But I'm a comedian. If I stopped teasing people, I'd be unemployed. But you can be funny without being cruel," she said, her voice dropping lower. Ricky blinked, caught off guard for the first time. "Cruel? Calling something beige is cruel? It's not what you said," she said pointedly. "It's how you said it." "And why?" Ricky paused, staring at her. The audience sensed the shift. This wasn't playful banter anymore. This was two professionals, each standing their ground. "I said it," Ricky finally replied, "because this show doesn't like when people say anything unpredictable. You want everything safe and tidy. That's because our viewers rely on us to be a stable presence in their mornings," Lorraine countered. "We're not here to insult them or each other. But you're here to judge comedians for telling jokes." He shot back. "No," she said firmly. "I'm here to hold people accountable for what they say." Ricky laughed. A sharp, clipped sound. "Oh, accountability. On morning TV. Yes," Lorraine said without hesitation. "And right now, I think you owe this audience an apology for your disrespect." The studio gasped. Even the camera operator blinked in disbelief. Lorraine Kelly, Queen of Calm, had just demanded an apology. And Ricky stared at her like she had grown two heads. "Apologize," he repeated. "For telling the truth. For being rude," she corrected. He leaned forward, clasping his hands. "Lorraine, sweetheart," her jaw clenched. "Do not call me sweetheart." "Okay," he said, raising his eyebrows. "Lorraine, lovely Lorraine, if you're offended by what I said, that's not my problem. Offense is taken, not given. That," she said coldly, "is a convenient philosophy for people who enjoy hurting others." Ricky sat back. "What? You think I came here to hurt you? You think I rolled out of bed this morning thinking, how can I ruin Lorraine Kelly's day? You certainly tried," she shot back. The tension snapped tight enough to hum through the air. The audience shifted uncomfortably. Someone whispered, "Oh my God." Ricky exhaled in frustration, rubbing his forehead. "You want me to lie? Is that it? Pretend everything is lovely and sweet?"